Hello, my name is Mark Duffy and I'm an executive coaching psychologist and tutor with Kingstown College. And today I'll talk about overlooked steps or questions in the mastery sessions. And first of all, to begin with, during the intro, we don't need to ask them what's their understanding of coaching, or certainly not what's their definition of coaching, because they don't need to have a definition and it can use up your valuable time as well when they expand on their answer. Also, we'll be telling them that we will be taking notes and that they're free to have these at any time. And we also need to clarify that this is okay. We need to ask for permission. And generally, people don't spend enough time in the goals element of growth. We need to help them get specific about their goal. Asking things like, what does that mean to you, will help them get clarity around what they mean. And we also don't want to assume that we have the same definition for what they're talking about. What will that look like as well is another powerful question to ask. And what will success look like? And how will we measure it? Are other powerful questions to ask. We also need to get a specific goal for this particular session, because they might have an overarching goal. And what we need to do is determine what outcomes do they want from this session, because we don't have much time together. So what outcomes do you want from this session, or what do you see yourself walking away with, are really powerful questions here. And generally, we need to spend more time in the reality element of growth. And this is where people get the greatest insights and they deepen their awareness. I would spend most of my coaching sessions in the reality stage of growth. So you'll be asking things like, what has worked in the past? What has held you back? What are your beliefs around this goal? Things like that. And halfway through the session, we have summarized what has taken place so far. And here we need to state the goal. We need to state the salient points, and we also need to clarify that you're correct before moving on. And 5 minutes before the end of the session, you ask your client to run through the actions that they've agreed to take and to write them down. So here, you're not telling the client what their action items are, because you're not really sure how much they've internalized when you do that, and they're not taking ownership when you do that. And before this, though, we need the action items to be specific and to be very clear. They're often very vague, and that's one of the most overlooked steps, really, is to gain specificity about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. The more specific they are and clear they are on how they're going to do it will increase the likelihood of success. We also want to help them to identify and overcome barriers or obstacles to set themselves up for success and to make sure that their goals are sustainable. One of the most overlooked barriers or obstacles is limiting beliefs. Oftentimes, the coachee will talk about something like fear or being fearful or something that, points to a limiting belief, and this is overlooked. But we need to be able to go there, because oftentimes the most even powerful or well thought out strategy could be overcome by a limiting belief and will sabotage at a later time. Then towards the end of the session, we need to ask for specific feedback. Questions like, how did that session go for you, are vague questions that can be answered with a great or a grand, but asking more specific questions will lead to what we really want to hear. So what worked well for you today is a specific question about what worked, and they need to answer in a specific way. And general advice really for the overall session is to ask one question at a time. When we follow up a question with another question and then sometimes another question onto that, we just confuse them. And generally what we want to do is replace those closed or leading questions with open questions more often. You're asking for pure discovery. You don't even know the answer to it yet, because if you believe you know the answers, then you're leading them down a path. You may as well be giving advice. So overall advice really is to familiarize yourself with the questions and the tools, but don't be restricted by them. Listen at higher levels and truly believe that they have the answers within. Thank you.